Hi guys, so I'm back, and if you can't tell, I'm on my crappy computer. My old slash good computer that I have been filming on the last few times, is making weird noises, and it's personally scaring me. And yeah, so before I start this video, and if you wanna and it probably says on the title, but this is like a bookish video. It's getting close to Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day. I have a chocolate, so let's celebrate. Woohoo! If you don't have anybody to spend your Valentine's Day with, then spend it with me and this candy heart that I have. So yes, this is going to be a book video. I'm trying to get back to the basics and read. You know what's really funny is this year, like 2012, I started tutoring kids in reading. And since I have started tutoring this kid in reading, I have not read one book, I don't think. No, I haven't. And how sad is that? Is that pretty sad? I think it's sad because I'm supposed to be, setting the example to read, and yeah. But you know what I blame myself not reading? I blame this thing I got for my birthday. Yes, my Nook tablet color thingy. Because, okay, so every time I read from this, so I buy a book and I read it. And I feel like I'm on the computer. Because more times than not, when I do read books, I go on YouTube on this. It's just like, I can just carry it around my house. It's pretty big. The screen's pretty big. Like, it's bigger than my hand. See? And I don't have big hands. Like, I have regular sized hands. But it's bigger than my hand. But, it's like, it's portable. It's not that heavy, It doesn't. But so whenever I read from it, I just feel like I'm on the computer. So I don't feel like I'm actually reading a book, which is supposed to be good for me. Because I'm reading something from my computer. So, but then books cost, I don't know. I just find it more convenient to buy something from this. Buy a book from this and buy a book at Barnes and Nobles. And as of the library, my library sucks. Okay. And I guess the libraries are supposed to suck because the books are free. But they just they call, I almost guarantee you, I'll go to the library, let's say today, and they will say that Anne and the French Kiss is new, and it's been out. Its sequel is already out, and so it's just, the library is not the place I like to go, even though it is free books. But one thing I found out, I was listening to book hauls today, and because I'm home from school, instead of stomachache, and I really did have a stomachache, but I was listening to people talk, and I was like, I like listening about books, listening about people talk, how great books are, than actually reading books. It seems like I spend more time doing that. And that's the same with writing. I love writing. I love it, but I like listening to people talk about writing a book than actually sitting down and writing, almost. So yeah, that's just me. I don't know if it's you or whatever. But yeah, so I got some books, and because I never did a to-read pile for the new year, so I guess I'm going to do that now. I'm going to tell you, what books I do want to read, and because, I read a lot of romance. 90% of the stuff I read is romance. But I'm interested in stuff other than romance. Just I'm more interested in romance than anything else. And I'm really interested in dystopian. Like, I've read a couple dystopians, and a couple dystopians that I'm really excited are coming out soon. But I don't know. They're harder to find in romance. I don't know. So yeah. So, there's some that I want to reread, and because of books coming out or me wanting to reread them. So the first one, I don't really even want to reread this book. I just want a full summary on it, even though I did read it. But, yeah. So, Matched. I read it, I got it on Easter, so I read it the full Easter day. Kept thinking it was going to get better. And I think I reviewed this too. Didn't get better, and the only reason I want to reread it is because the sequel came out. And I have the sequel on a sample, but because I read Delirium, and Match together, and they're like a lot of like, but different. Like, I love Delirium. I pretty much hated Match, but I still want to read the sequel. So, to read the sequel, I have to remember what this book is about. Looks like I'm gonna have to reread it. I don't really want to reread it, but I should. And, because the sequel is already out. And, so that's that. And then Delirium. I want to reread this for two reasons. One, the sequel is finally coming out, in the 28th of February this month. So I'm very excited, and I would like to reread it because it's coming out. Another reason is because it was a good book and I only read it once, and it was a great book. And these are both dystopians. And so, yeah. Another one is kind of very random, but I've kind of wanted to reread it for a while, and I don't think you've ever seen my version of it. The Secret Garden. The best book ever. The Secret Garden, is basically about an orphan. I'm reading from the back. Orphan who goes to live at their uncle's house. They have a little farm. She meets a boy who is like can't walk, and it's just a very magical story. It's one of the main books that got me into reading, because it was just I think I read it for a book report. This was actually my mom's book, but I don't know if she ever read it. And like, see, it's ripped. Can you see it? You probably can't see it, which is good, but it's like ripped right here. And I had to keep them back together. Let's see. Wait, can you see it? It's ripped. Like right almost by the spine. And yeah, it's just a very magical book. The movie's good too. I actually saw the movie when I was younger, and then when I read it, I saw it again. The movie again. It's a very good book. It's a middle grade book for ages 9 and up, but it's a pretty long book. I mean, it's 350 pages or so. So yeah, I want to reread it. Because that's the kind of book I want to reread. Now these two, I was about around the middle through when I just stopped reading it. Both of these books are great. Were great, and I've heard great things about them. And one isn't even mine; it's my mom's. And she could finish. If my mom could finish this book, then I can. This one is nonfiction. It says it's Ellen DeGeneres' book, but she's really funny, and I really like her sense of humor. And so it's like a 200-page book, I think. No, over 200, almost 250. And I got to 150. So yeah, about halfway through, because I got to here. So I got this much. This much is the first way. This is the stuff I didn't read. This is the stuff I did. So yeah, I want to read that book, and yeah. And then the next book is, it's a very popular book for young adult. It's Miss Pettigree's Home for Peculiar Children. I read about a quarter of it. That's my bookmark. And it was pretty good. I think it might even, it's almost kind of like a middle grade book, as it has like no romance like whatsoever, but it's pretty cool. The pictures are kind of scary. And I like the letters, and I kind of like the mystery, because I'm not like really that into mystery. I used to be a lot more when I was younger, and not really that's all there was to read. But it's a pretty cool book. I like the special needs type walking on water type air thingy. So, and I've heard good and bad things about it, mostly kind of bad, but yeah. And these are the books that I kind of pretty much want to read. That I haven't read, or I have, but only like a chapter or two. This one I've had forever. It's another middle grade book. It's Black Beauty. I've heard wonderful things about it. It's a classic. And why don't I want to read it? Because it's not romance. And there's no reason for me to, but there is. It's supposed to be a good book. It's supposed to be a classic. And it's only, it's almost 300 pages, but, and I've read 6 pages. But yeah, it looks good. And then this one, I've read a little more of it, and I read the first single thingy. It's called Farmer Boy. Yes, Farmer Boy. It's from the Little House on the Prairie series. I loved the first one, but it took me a couple tries to actually read the first one because they're kind of boring. Kind of. I guess I think every book that doesn't have romance at all is boring, but the first book was really good. I heard this book is really about food, and my cousin, who's a big Little House on the Prairie fan, loved this book, but she also is really into food. Like, she's not fat or anything, but she's Italian like I am, and she's into food. And I do want to learn about this book. But yeah, the farthest I got in it, I think. Oh my gosh, are you serious? I feel like I got farther, but my bookmark says I only got to the first page. And and it's another middle grade book. And there's about 350 pages. So yeah, that's that one. And then this one, I've always been interested in reading it. It's not even my book, it's my brother's. And I know how very little he reads, so I know he won't miss it. But it is a middle grade book, and it's called The Lightning Thief. It almost sounds like a high school book, like a young adult book, but it's not. It's basically about this guy who gets kicked out of boarding school, and he goes to Mount Olympus, and it's really Greek mythology-like, and I really love Greek mythology. Like, I'm really interested in it. And, yeah. And have I ever started reading this? No, I haven't. But, of course, I want to. And it's, how many pages? 350 about. I always switch up. And the last book that I'm not even sure I might read, but my aunt gave it to me, and she said I could either have it or give it back to her. She's probably never going to read it again. And it's a Christian romance, so it is like the only like few romance I have in here. And it's called The Lightkeeper's Daughter. And I think it's about a lighthouse in some kind of romance. I'm not really sure. I might read it. I probably won't read any of these books. And then these next 3 books is kind of, they're different books. I don't really want to read them per se, but I want to go through them and stuff like that. These next 2 books I got when I was in 5th or 6th grade, so they're like really tattered and old looking. I only read one of them. I'm not sure. I forget. Oh, I read this one. Okay, so it's basically the choose your own story thing, and I've tried to find more of them, like non-kid things, because I really liked this one. And so it's basically called What If Everyone Was Doing It, and it was a romance, but at the end of each chapter, it was really short story because the book isn't even that big to begin with, but it was choose your own story, so you can't read all the pages. So like at the end of the chapter, you got to change it. So if you know like any of young adult type books that I may be interested in, that are like choose your own ending type thing, and that's cool. So this one's called What If Everyone Was Doing It by Liz and Sarah. And this next one is called What If All the Rumors Were True. I never read it, but oh, and I guess it's the same kind of story as the other one, like it's the same characters. So yeah. And this next one I've probably shown you before, and it's going to be the last one because it's already been 17 minutes. It's called The Collection of Poems of Emily Dickinson. I just want to read through these, like just a couple of her love lines, see what she thought about love, and she's a really good person. Well, she was, obviously. I think she was. And yeah, it's really awesome. And it's the Barnes & Noble's version, so I don't think it's all of them, all of her poems, because she wrote a lot. And she only published 3. But yep, that's that. And yeah. Tell me what you do when you're like in a reading slump. I just go through all my books that I haven't read but probably should read and show random people like I'm doing. So yeah, I think I might try to start with the lightning thief. I might start with one of these or go to the library. I'm not sure yet. But yeah. Oh yeah, and I also haven't been YouTubing because last week I got a cold, and colds suck. So yeah, sorry again for the bad lighting, but it's a wonderful day. It doesn't even look like winter, and so I figured it would be an exception. And like the door's right behind the camera, so and it's open, which you probably didn't want to know. But yeah. So yeah, see you guys later. Bye.